Have you ever studied harder than everyone around you and still scored lower on an important test? And instead of thinking, I need a different approach, you just studied even harder because maybe you thought, I'm just not a good test taker? Now, newsflash, it has nothing to do with how smart you are. I'm Alec Palmerton, and I've coached over 1,000 doctors through what are basically the Olympics of test taking. So if you're seeing others scoring better than you while working less, it doesn't have to be that way. And by the end of this, you'll see exactly why. Let me tell you about someone named Tanya. Tanya was a Caribbean medical student, and she had failed Step 1, which is one of the hardest medical licensing exams in the world, 4 times. So let's think about what that means. That means she spent years of studying, hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition, years of grinding, and every time that she failed, she did what most people do, which is she studied harder. She thought, okay, well, I just need more hours. I need more material. I need more of everything. And the issue is that every time it didn't work. It was to the point where she had to petition state medical boards for a special exemption just to allow her to take it a 5th time, because the maximum number of times that you can take this exam is 4 times. Her career was literally hanging by a thread, and she was convinced after 4 failures, right? How could you not be? That she was just a bad test taker. She thought there was something wrong with her and that she had to work harder to overcompensate. Now, I'm going to tell you what happened to Tanya at the end of this video, but first I need to show you what she was stuck in. Because the thing that was trapping her is probably trapping you right now, and you may not even realize it. Here's how the cycle works that keep people stuck in having low scores. At some point, you decided that you're just not a good test taker. Maybe it was after a bad score on a big exam. Maybe you've been watching classmates outscore you or get better grades while working less. Maybe you had a big rejection. Maybe you got rejected from something that really mattered to you. It may not be something that you've talked a lot about, and frankly, you probably have stopped questioning it. Because the dirty secret is that once we believe that the problem is us, we stop looking for a different approach. If the problem is me, then it makes sense that I'm going to go out and find other resources, right? Because I need to fix what's wrong with me. I'm also not going to go out and find new or better techniques to try to learn more efficiently or take tests better. Instead of trying something new, in addition to trying to get more materials, I do the thing that makes sense. I work harder. I spend more hours. I write more notes. More of what it is that I've done in the past. It's not like we've had no success, but this is where it gets us, because working harder actually makes things worse. And let me show you exactly why. Let me ask you a question that I've never heard anyone else ask. If you study every day, what is the maximum amount of knowledge that you could ever acquire in your head at any given time? It turns out that there's actually a ceiling to that, and it depends on just 2 things: how much you learn per day and what percentage of that information that you're going to forget every single day. Let's just do some basic math to try to illustrate this point. Let's say that if I'm a crammer, right? Let's say that I could master the equivalent of, say, 10 pages per day, but of all of my knowledge, I'm going to forget the equivalent of about 40% per day. Now, these are relatively conservative estimates. There are some estimates that when you first learn something that you can forget up to 80 or 90%, but let's just be conservative and say it's just 40% per day of the things that you're learning that you're going to forget. Your ceiling would be only 25 pages. No matter how many months that you study, at a certain point, the number of things that you forget every day is going to equal the number of things that you remember. And so if you divide the number of new things that you're learning every day, which in this case is going to be 10 pages, divided by 0.4, which is 40%, you get a maximum amount of knowledge of 25 equivalent pages in a day. You get the equivalent of 25 pages that you would know at any given time at your maximum. Now, if I'm the equivalent of a crammer who thinks that they're a bad test taker, and I've maybe not had the best results on tests in the past, and I don't really think that it's a technique problem, then I'm just going to continue to cram, right? And the issue is that if I don't look at trying to get a better technique, then I'm going to be capped at a certain amount of knowledge that I'm going to have in a day. But let's look at a different technique for retaining information called spaced repetition. We might learn less per day. Let's say, I don't know, maybe it's 3 pages in a day. But with spaced repetition, you will never forget the things that you learn. But to be fair, let's just be really conservative and say that you might forget maybe 2% of that information. If I learned 3 things per day and I only forgot 2% of them every day, my ceiling now is 150 pages, literally 6 times more than if I had a worse technique of just cramming things and forgetting them. I can literally 6x the amount of knowledge that I would have in my brain. In other words, the person with the better studying technique is actually studying much less per day, and they're going to retain 6 times more because they're fixing one of the biggest problems that test takers face, right? How much they're forgetting. They can dramatically improve the amount of knowledge that they have and thus their scores. And so when you study harder, you're actually cranking up the effort without fixing the leak, right? You're pouring faster into a bucket with holes, and you're exhausted and your scores don't move, and you think, I need to study even harder. Whereas in reality, the problem is in your technique. So if you want to study less and score higher, spaced repetition is an incredibly powerful way for you to maximize your scores with very minimal effort. But for those of you that have the knowledge but are still getting questions wrong, let me tell you a different story. I had a student who had literally scored better on practice tests when she was exhausted. Because when she was tired, she stopped overthinking. If you're one of those people that second guesses everything, this is for you. Now, if you're studying for one of the medical board exams like the USMLEs or COMLEX, or specialty exams like ABIM or ABA or one of the other board certification exams, be sure to sign up for our free 14-step program where we'll explain exactly how it is that you can break the cycle so you can get higher scores in less time. When she had energy, she had all this energy to sort of overthink things, but when she was tired, she actually just answered the questions. And crazily enough, her scores actually went up towards the end of the day. When she was fresh and trying hardest, worse scores. In this case, more effort was literally producing worse results. And here's the thing, you can compensate with brute force. You can pass, right? She was passing her exams. She had gotten by, like she'd gotten to medical school, which is a very, very difficult thing. You've taken out a lot of people who, didn't get really high scores in the MCAT and maybe didn't get really high scores on the SATs. In her case, she was succeeding despite her techniques, not necessarily because of them. Because every step was a grind, right? She was studying twice as long as the person next to her for the same results. And so she was exhausted. She was anxious. And she noticed that other people seem to be able to do this a lot easier. And this is where it gets you. If you're working 3 times harder for the same results, what does it prove to you? It proves that you're not as smart as them. Our mind starts to think not that, oh man, our techniques are wrong. Our mind starts to think that this is evidence that there's something wrong with us. And so that belief of us not being good enough, us not being good test takers, gets stronger. And so you're even less likely to look for a better approach, like spaced repetition, like learning how to read questions better, and we just end up working harder, and the cycle starts again and gets worse and worse and worse. If I believe I'm a bad test taker, I don't look for better techniques, my techniques stay poor, I compensate by working harder, I succeed, but it's a grind, and that grind confirms the belief that I wasn't a good test taker in the first place. And this cycle does produce successful people, right? Like there's a lot of people like me who wrote it all the way through high school and even lots of college, even through medical school. But inside it never feels enough because we know how much harder we're working than everyone else. And so every success feels like it's earned through suffering, not because we are actually competent. We're succeeding despite our techniques, not because of them. So the cycle is real and the math proves it. But here's what matters. It can be broken and it can be broken fast. The first crack in breaking this cycle of studying more and getting lower scores is that you need to understand the questions that you're getting wrong might not be knowledge gaps. I had a student who was just above the passing level. When we looked through his wrong answers, roughly half of the things that he got wrong were things that he actually knew. Now, this is a really, really common scenario where someone gets a lot of questions wrong, not because they didn't know the material, right? Because there's questions like that too. But oftentimes people are getting questions wrong because they just didn't know how to read the question. In his case, he was literally talking himself out of the right answer. Specifically, he was holding the right answer to an impossible standard. He was seeing traps. He'd be like, oh man, this seems too easy. Nah, I don't know. I think they're trying to trick me. And he was just changing his answer because it just didn't feel quite right. When he fixed those skills, where he had the same knowledge and he just changed his approach, he went from literally just above passing to the top 10% on one of the hardest exams in the world in just 2 weeks. If half of the wrong answers are things that you actually know, the problem isn't with what's in your head, it's with what you're doing with it. The second way that you can get a higher score in less time is to stop losing what you've already learned. We just talked about the math. The forgetting rate is where the massive gains are hiding, right? Because so many people focus on the learning of the thing and they don't spend nearly enough time trying to fix what it is that they're losing in terms of the knowledge. Retention is a skill and it can be learned. Now, there's a free app called Anki that handles all of this. It schedules your reviews so that you're always reviewing right before you would forget something. I have used this every day for 17 years, and it takes me less than 30 minutes to remember more than 28,000 flashcards that I've made over this time period. And the crazy thing is that the time goes down over time, not up. And so, in the beginning, I was maybe spending like hours a day when I was having to study, and I was making a lot of flashcards. But as time went on, those flashcards, the interval in which they would take for me to forget it would go down. And so now it literally takes me about 20 minutes a day to remember literally more than 28,000 facts and concepts and ideas. During my residency at Harvard MGH, I studied on the subway every day, which was basically like 30 to 40 minutes each way. And so over 4 years, that's hundreds of hours of retained knowledge from that time that I was just already spending commuting. The great news is that you don't need a perfect 2-hour study block. You just need a system that uses the time that you already have. The third way that you're gonna get higher scores in less time is to recognize that you might be preparing for the wrong game. Now, most tests people struggle with aren't usually tests of recall, meaning they're not testing whether you can regurgitate a fact on a page, they're actually testing whether you can apply or use a concept in a novel situation. And those tests require completely different preparation. So for example, if you're memorizing a bunch of information and the test is asking you to apply a concept or a fundamental principle, then you're training for a game that you're not really playing. So in other words, you need to figure out what kind of test you're taking, and then you can prepare for that test. And when you fix these 3 things, even just one of them, things can change dramatically, which is exactly what happened to Tanya. So remember Tanya Tanya, the one with 4 failures, she had a special exemption, so she could take it for a 5th time. She had spent years of studying harder and harder and was going nowhere. When we started working together, we focused on something called the 80% mastery method. This is where you really understand the material deeply in one particular subtopic before you move on. You're not cramming it, not grinding through as much as possible, trying to get through as many practice questions or read as many pages as possible. You're actually just focusing on making sure that you understand the material before you move on. And once she did this, something clicked. It was almost right away. And I can still remember like just seeing the awareness dawn on her face. She started showing up in a Discord group all the time, not because we told her to, but because she literally could not stop. She was asking for extra accountability because what she was doing, she could see was working. And again, you have to understand what this means for someone who's failed this exam 4 times. Like when people fail this exam, they say it was like the worst day of their life. And if anyone's ever failed it twice, they're like, no, actually the first time was not nearly as bad as the second time. Like that was really the worst time. She had failed this 4 times. She's someone who had been grinding for years and years and years and getting nowhere. She was someone who had stopped believing that it was possible. And now suddenly things were making sense. Not in a month, but literally in a day. Suddenly didn't feel like suffering anymore. And the crazy thing is that she scored in the top 0.1% on her practice test. Top 0.1%. So she literally went from the bottom, like probably 0.1% to the top 0.1%. She ended up passing step 1, which is a pass-fail exam. And so we don't actually know what her real score was, but just having a practice score in that range is an incredible achievement. And then she literally went on to write material for the biggest book that is, published for preparations of this exam called First Aid. Remember, she didn't get smarter between attempt 4 and attempt 5, she just broke the cycle. Now, if you're a med student or resident or fellow or attending working on the USMLEs, COMLEX or shelf exams or any specialty or subspecialty board certification exam, and you want the same kind of help that Tanya got, my team and I coach doctors through this exact thing. So be sure to check in the description for a link to book a free call with the team. And here's what I didn't expect when I started coaching, which can completely skyrocket people's confidence and scores in a pretty short period of time. When people's scores improve, not because they're working harder and grinding more and staying later and sacrificing more of their life, but because they actually started working differently, something else changes. They stop telling themselves, I'm a bad test taker, because the evidence changed. When people start getting questions right that they used to get wrong, when they're studying less and they're scoring higher, that voice of like, oh, I'm just not good enough. Oh, I'm just not a good test taker. That starts to quiet down. And so the question is, are you in the cycle right now? The way to find out is this. Next time you do practice questions, look at what you got wrong. Not just that you got it wrong, right? Because a lot of people, they'll get a question wrong and they're like, oh, I just didn't work hard enough, or oh, I'm just not a good test taker, right? Don't do that. Instead, look at specifically why you got each of the questions wrong. How many were things that you actually knew, right? Things where you see the explanation and you think like, oh yeah, I knew that. Like, why did I get it wrong? If it's more than a third, then you're probably in this cycle of working harder for worse results, which is hurting your motivation. The problem isn't what it is that you know, instead it's what it is you're doing with it. If you want to score higher in less time, and specifically, if you want to learn how it is that I did more than 28,000 flashcards over the last 17 years to never forget the things that I learned over that time period, be sure to check out this video.